Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. So this video I'm going to work on the piece that drifts between different colors, the cream, the pink, the purple and the blue. Now I've mentioned a little while ago that I just wasn't happy with this end down here, and I want my piece to feel very I don't know, what is the word, soft and luxurious. So that in my head is these chiffons and things like that. So what I did was went looking for chiffon, and instead of getting a block color, I found these pieces that drift between color. So I'm hoping that this will give me some elements that I can use. So I'll just show you what I've got. There's a yard in the fabric. So for example, this one starts with the golden colors into the sand, into a green, and then it drifts right through into quite a dark green. So for value for investment, really, really good, because that just gives me so many colors. So that was my first one. I went into then a darker one with the different bottle greens into the paler, and then even a little bit of yellow. And then this one is into the pinks, like a apricot tone, right through to the soft creams, well, a pinky, very pale pink. And this one is into the purples, and that's nearly a grey tone into a purple lavender, into quite a dark colour. So, and the last one is some blacks into the steely blues, into some greys. So I think I'm really happy with them, because I think they're giving me multitudes of colour, like there's even a dark blue there, multitudes of colour to sort of work with. And being in slow stitch, we only use, you know, little bits and pieces. So they finally arrived, and the plan is to try and soften up my piece. Now I'm just going to open it up and have a think about how I'm going to do this. Where the idea came from is sort of back here. I had this piece of chiffon that was embroidered, and I really like how that gave that soft feel. And then I put some chiffon over some lace, so that sort of pushed that lace back into the background, and it's given it a really delicate sort of feel about it, instead of the harsh lines of the lace itself, like that lace there and that completely different. So when I got down to this section where I'm going into the blues, I was really struggling because I had no blues really that would soften it. Like I've got heaps of creams and neutrals and sandy colors. So that's where I sort of thought, okay, I'm going to need to try and solve this, and I'm hoping that this and the purple will get me there. So as for the prompt, I haven't yet worked out what I'm going to stitch. I sort of feel like my background's not right, and I think once I get the background sorted, I may come up with something that I can, you know, add to it. So the plan is to get some softness happening. Now, how am I going to do that is the question. I love that darker tone. Then it gets really dark. I don't want to go that dark. It's like having a colour wheel, and I've got how am I going to do this? I'm just going to take a piece out. I'm going to try not to overthink this, and just sort of have a bit of a play. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to make that noise. Where's my pins? All right, let's get this at least down. Do we want to put some lace in behind it? picking this piece up. Will that help soften things? No. Let me jump up and just grab my box of lace and get it a little closer to me. Maybe there's something in here. That's a lace collar that someone has stitched on, and I've been looking at that for a little while too. How have they stitched it on there? Okay, so there's just a tacking stitch. I'm not sure where this video will lead, and will I even come out with a solution that I'm happy with, but I'm just going to, I don't know, grab a heap of, oh, that come off easy. I'm going to grab a heap of elements. All right, so that's off. It's a pretty piece of lace. Where's my snippet? Maybe it's this thing. Maybe that's too big. It's too overpowering. Let's get some paler tones on it. Let's get a little bit of this one. I'm just going to start layering it. All I can see is those tassely bits there. Let's get them out of there. I think that's going to help. That's going to just soften that darkness. Let's get this next one on. Maybe, can you even see, guys? Yes, you can. Maybe that will help. That's a lot better. It's just more of a whimsical sort of feel to it. Or is this a better piece of lace? Let's try this one. No, I do like this, and I'm thinking it's going to be a morsel of it, but where do we cut it? That's sort of, if I cut it there, it's the same size as that. I think this is bugging me. I'm going to remove this. It just feels too big. Gone. Then I'm going to cut that there. And just have it drifting up into the air there. Then we'll put that guy in, and I'll probably squinch it up a little bit, if that's a technical word. And then this one can come over the top a little bit. We're sort of giving the impression that we're heading into the blues. We don't want to be too blocky blue. It's still, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about the background. So if that all got stitched down, some layers there. Okay, so that's a lot better. Doesn't feel so harsh now. And maybe I just put a pop of the linen on top, just down there as we head towards the end of the piece. So that piece of linen has been pushed back a bit with the chiffon, and this little piece is popping out, sort of like what's happening over there with that purple. All right, I'm happier with that. I've got this wash of blue at the end. Now, where'd the purple fabric get to? I sort of feel like I could bring a little bit more purpley pink tones in across the bottom here to blend. Yeah, just something through here. Let's just take another piece. I think these pieces of chiffon are going to be the gift that keeps giving. Yeah, just a little whoosh of something through there. I'm trying to tie, I think, I don't know what I'm trying to do, but I think I'm trying to tie the colours together so it's a little bit more of a wash. Now, maybe we can then, why do I keep picking that up? I don't want that. Don't want that. What do I want? Let's have a look in my box of tricks here. Hello, Casper. So I filmed a video which you would have watched yesterday, and now I'm just kept going and on to the next piece. So Casper's like still hanging around. He made an appearance yesterday. I'm sort of thinking that might work in there. Let's just... What a gorgeous crocheted edge. I do not know where I'm heading with this. All I know is it needs some love, it needs some texture, it needs some elements added. So I'm just going to go for it. Start making it feel a little bit more interesting. This poor old thing. It's seen better days, hasn't it? Let's just take that. Feels like a fence to me. Let's have a look. A little bit of a garden fence happening here. Let's just pin it down. As for the prompt, I don't know. I just don't feel like this feels like a place for a shed or a glass house. So what am I going to do? Do I go back to the wildflowers prompt? Where's the box that goes with this project? Maybe there's some bits and pieces in there I can use. All right, so what have we got here? Maybe I build on the pumpkin. Sort of thinking I pinch out this pink flower. I think this piece is going to not have the shed. I think I'm going to work more on the wildflowers with it and make it a little bit more floral. I don't know. I do have a little wheelbarrow that I really like. sort of feel like that's not, it certainly gives it consistency because I'm dragging those pink flowers through. I wonder if that could go up and over her a little bit more. Let's trim that down a little. And maybe we could build a bit of an arbor around her shoulders there to soften, sort of to nestle her in a little bit. I don't know. We will see. Who knows where this will lead us. Could probably do some pots from the potting shed. Just thinking, can you hear my brain turning? Maybe we bring some pots in and then what could we use to make the pots interesting? It's sort of just not quite the right shape without sort of encroaching on her. Let's have a look down here. No. Does frame that nicely. It picks up on the pumpkin, but I don't need, how would I disguise that? I'd have to tuck it in under there, and that would come in there. That would work if I cut it at that leaf and then tuck that into the background, then lift the pink flower up. That would work. I need to move my fence along a little bit or trim it so that it didn't cover up the little leaf of that pumpkin. Yeah, I like that. That's sort of giving that pumpkin a little bit more depth and interest around him. He was sort of sitting out there in the middle of nowhere. So he's sort of a little bit more nestled now. And there's our pink flower from further along. So it's sort of tying the whole piece together. Do you have this little bit of gold? Might just trim this a little bit more. Maybe I drift that up into here so that it looks like this gold vine, I guess, is coming through the whole piece. Yeah, I do like that. Much happy. I'm looking up at the TV screen and I'm liking how there's just this pop of blue here. We're sort of, it's not too overpowering. I think that will look good. And I might even do some camphor stitch on this with some white thread, just so that that little piece of linen, I'm going to leave that all puckered. I'm not going to trim it. I still have some floral left. Just not quite. I might fussy cut it. Oh, I know what I could add to this piece. When I went through those books of Jennifer, there was these spiders, bugs, butterflies and things like that. Maybe I do some little insects in it and find some pretty little beads. I don't know, that's one idea. I'm not exactly doing a potting shed by the sound of it. Pot plants. What could we do with pot plants? Maybe I'll put a pot in. What would I use as the base? Maybe I could use a piece of cream felt. It's a tricky one because this is really whimsical, like as in the fabrics are very soft and delicate. So I've got to be a little bit careful that I don't put in something that's just too structured. That makes sense. That's sort of the feel I'm getting. I've got some braids and things that I did have in mind for this piece. I like how that sort of feels a bit like a tree over her and she's nestled in. So I'm just going to pin it. Can always take it away. I've got this piece standing up a little bit here. I didn't trim it down, so I like the fact that the leaf is now going up onto it. It doesn't feel like it's a piece that I didn't trim down. I know this belongs to that other project, but I do feel like I could put a bit of tatting in. Am I going to miss that if I do that? Do I have some other tatting? All right, before we get carried away stealing pieces from other projects, let's go back to the original bits and bobs that we gathered together for this piece. Inspiration coming here. That is a bit of fabric from a poinsettia. I like that. I'm just going to cut that with a straight line and just pop that there. Just as a little element into the darker pinks. Now we're cooking. What I might do, is there any soft laces? What's in here? What's that? It's very big. We've used the purple. These were those little morsels that I picked up from that site. The details are in the description below. Maybe there's some bits here that, gee, they'd look good in the French garden, wouldn't they? Stay focused, Corrine. One project at a time. Oh, I like that. And if I get that pink chiffon drifting up over that a little bit. That sort of finishes our little lady a little bit. What else have we got? Oh, that's, what a difference. Oh, I'm happy with that. And I feel like my blue's not so stark. It's softened it. Now, do we do a pot? Or do I hold my horses a little and see what the next prompt is that maybe that... Oh gosh, that's pretty. Do I like that better than that? No, for some reason I do like this. I like how the cream pushes back the white of that lace. I like the lineal line that that gives me at the top of the piece. It's just a little morsel there, but I do like how that transitions that background a little. I wonder if I was to do a pot. Here's a little piece of, let's just have a little play with a pot. I don't know if I like the idea. Let's get a shape of a pot for a start. Where would we put our pot? Gone quiet, haven't I? Sort of thinking I could do something over with her now. Maybe she's tending, I don't know, my pot shape's got a bit wacky here. I think it has. Oh my goodness. As long as it's a different shaped pot. Got that little flower there, and I don't really want to. Maybe I just have to disguise it. Have a bit of a gap between them. And then what floral could I put in there other than stitches? I'm wondering. Oh, I just spotted something out of the corner of my eye. We're in the pink zone. Look at this. What's their story? How are they attached? Just with a stitch and a couple beads. What would I be sacrificing? Couple beads in the center. It's attached over there to that one. So if I let go of that guy is going to be discontinued real quick. Do like that. I'm going to cut this little fellow out. This sprig. See the tiny little sprig? And I'm wondering, put that in the pot like a little plant that's shot up. I like that. I do like this little flower, but I need to, if I cut that back here, find this thread. Is that holding? Yep, it is. So that should have released the little flower and the bead. Okay, so let's just sit that for a second there. Just looking at the way they've done that, it's pretty cute. I'm going to find my needle and thread, which is somewhere in this mess. There it is. How quickly my desk exploded into bits. Okay. Now, what I'm thinking is this little guy is going to go into that little pot. So I just want to secure him down before I get too far ahead of myself. And that little bead that came with him. So let's get, there's the bead. Come back here, a little bead. Oh, this will give me plenty to stitch this evening. That's great. What I might do, just to add another dimension to that little flower, is I'm going to pick up a little pearl bead from my collection. And just pop that in the center of that pink bead, just to give it a little pop of the cream, I think. No, see, it's covering that pink bead too much to the point where you just wouldn't even know there was a pink bead underneath. So no, that was a bad idea. So our little lady has now got 2 pot plants that she's tending from the potting shed. The French garden, the big piece, is going to have a potting shed in it. So I sort of feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm getting elements from inside the shed, which are the hanging baskets and some pot plants here. And then we've got the shed and we've also got a glass house. So that's great. I've sort of got different elements on each thing. I'm not having to repeat myself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just doing an overcast stitch to hold this little piece of hemp down. It's the tiniest of scrap that I've spotted to my side here. And it's given me 2 little pot plants. It's a little pink flower. Sometimes it's the simplest little elements. And it's good because they're sort of starting to build up a little story around her. She was just sort of sitting there. So I'm just coming over to that other pot now, and I'm going to try and secure in that little guy. Then I'm thinking I might find a pink thread and put a couple little lines on the pot just to give the little pot a little bit more interest. I've left the tulle on around this little sprig. That'll help give another layer to it all. So let's get some stitches in to secure all those little pieces. Then I might find a pink thread, I think. Maybe do some little lines on the pots or some, I don't know. The rest of it I've pinned down. That's pretty straightforward. I'll just stitch all those little elements down, and I feel like my background is finally coming together for this piece. Have I got that around the right way? I don't, it's upside down. I need to twist that. Okay. Let's just finish stitching the pot down. Glad I noticed that. It just had no shimmer about it, and I could see On the other side there was a sparkle to that thread that they've used. So that's the little pot secure. Now I just want to okay. Not exactly centered there, did I? Oh my goodness. I got that a little bit wonky. Let's just back up a little bit there, girl. Take that thread out. How did I get that so wrong? I started thinking about something else that's happening in my real world, and just for the moment there I was just stitching away and thinking. I probably went quiet too. Then I stopped and looked back at my pot, and I've got this, I'll zoom in because I bet you can't even see what the heck I'm doing. See the little pink flower? I've got my stem way out of whack there. Let's just get him off of there. Thread the needle again. So I've got a stitch in there. Okay, so I should be able to get it in now. I've got to get it more centered. Otherwise it will look like it's growing crooked. Probably being finicky, but if it's not right, it's not right. It'll only bug you if you don't like something. Just stop, take a moment, fix it up. That's better. Now, have I got it the right way? Oh my goodness, it's upside down. Is it? Yeah, it is. Seriously, this plant is giving me grief. Let's try it again. What's this, the third time we've stitched this little sucker down? Goodness me. It's the fiddly things, isn't it? So let's get you a thread, the piece, the right. It's tricky because it actually, so it's got to go that way. And it's going to be tucked in under there to the center of the pot. My needle is coming through already, so I can just pick it up. Right, I think we got it. I'm just going to put the one stitch in, then I'm going to stop, have a little look. Yep. Let's get some stitches down the center of this little. A lot of effort, and we probably won't even notice it's even there, you know. You'll glance at the piece in its entirety and you'll be like, not even twigging that there's a little element there. I think too, I'm going to do a bit of camphor stitching on this. I sort of feel like I could get some, in these little pieces of linen, some little stitches in. Even if it's just a few here and there and not the whole piece. I just think it'll add more depth to my background. Should we do a third pot? Have I got another little scrap of that fabric here? I think I do. Add some more pots to her garden. Let's have a look. Yep, I do. Do we do another little pot? Do we need it? I do like them. They're very cute. Didn't think I was doing little pots like this. Give this one a little edge, like a rim. Now I'm on a pot tangent. I do like that. Can we find a little flower? Hello, Casper. Let's get some more thread. Come on. I really like how that one flower was sitting on that piece of lace, and I'm wondering if that could be something, or do I look for something in the doilies that could be used? Let's just get the little pot down. There's so many little things it's going to catch on. This is really tricky. Just get a few little stitches to secure it. Then I can always come back when I sit down and really anchor all these little elements down that I've pinned into position. But at least my pot's not going to move. I feel like I've lost my shape in my pot there. That's a bit better. Okay, so I need a little flower or flowers for my little pot. We are sneaking into lavender a little bit there. I wonder if there's something in the lavender that would help connect the pink. I'll just bring my needle up there. Let's have a little look. I could probably take one of those. I think they appeared on there. I think that would be lost, so that's no good. We're going to need to be bold in our choice. Anything in there I can use in my bucket? Nope. I'm sort of thinking along the lines of one of these. Let's have a little look. Maybe it's too much lavender. Oh, look at you. No, too big. Very cute. That there caught my eye. It's over here. Let me zoom up a little bit so you get a bigger picture. That little guy is over here, so no, that little guy, that would work. Taking it from the center, does it matter? Nibbling it out of there. Would I miss it? Probably not, because it's such a pretty piece anyway. Yeah, that's it. Gone. You watch me regret that one day. I'll keep the bead too. Yep, so that's all good. Pop that away. Oh my goodness, I've got a mess. how quickly it gets out of hand. See, there's this little guy here too. No. What does Rachel say? Auditioning. So they're real different colours. Again, not quite right. That there caught my eye. I need to keep that out for a wee moment. These little pieces, I'm just going to ball clip back together and pop in the box. And we're going to stitch this little purple flower in, I think. Yeah, that works. That links that purple nicely. That swish of purple that's coming from the side there to meet her skirt. I still think I could probably highlight the pots a little bit with a pink thread or something. It's a good start. Very good. 3 little pots of flowers for my lady. She's tending her garden. So I'll just knot that off. Now I was sort of thinking, before I think too much, let's just get some pink thread, like I said, and finish. Gosh, where did that hour go? For goodness sakes, it's just thinking that. I just want to pop a couple little stitches in there, just as a little something. I don't think I'll be able to use that needle. Going to need a bigger needle. Probably only need 2 threads. Even this colour would be nice as camphor stitch up there, just to put a little detail in. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about with that stitch, it's just a series of running stitches all in a row, just to see how that's puffing up there a little bit. It's not quite finished, it's not secure, it's not part of the background. So what I'm thinking, if I can thread the needle, tell you what, this is action-packed, isn't it? Is we'll pop a little bit of a line or just a few little stitches across that rim of the pot. Otherwise it just looks like a piece of fabric I've just sat there. So I want to give it a little subtle detail. Then I'm going to use that same thread and do some camphor stitch in it. My go-to would have been cream, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit and put this pink through because it's such a pretty match. And because it's on the pot, I think it'll sort of look like it's some thought has gone into this. I'm just going to bring the needle up one more time and lie that thread across because I'm thinking it could handle a second row. So I'm just going to run across again just to give it a little bit extra detail. It'll help the pots sort of get a bit of what's the word? I was going to say swagger, but pots don't have swagger. Just to highlight that they're there, I believe. Just feel like it needs just that little bit. Yeah. And then we'll come down to this little guy. And we'll do the same. So I've got plenty of homework on this one. So I can stitch all of those bits and pieces that we laid down. And so I really feel like this is now starting to match. It was just, I was in limbo land. I was nearly avoiding it a little bit. I don't know, it just wasn't. And I was reaching for the French garden to start. And I thought, if I don't get this little guy underway, I will spend the next 3 videos working on the French garden. This will be hanging over my head. So I forced myself to pick it up. Hello, Casper. So I'm really happy with this now. And I think I'll leave French garden, you know, in my world for tomorrow morning, because there's plenty here I could do, and I feel comfortable that I could spend, you know, a couple hours stitching onto this piece some little details. And I think I'll be a lot happier for it. And tomorrow morning I'll pick up French garden and go for it. And that'll probably be 4 videos easily. And I still have to get back to splash of colour and do those hanging pots. I haven't done that. But I'll do that with you guys as well. But that's all good. How are we going for time? God, cruising. So I've got 2 lines of stitching on that little pot. Even though the shape of the pot is different, that little line detail connects the story together. The different pots, but they're not. I'm seriously overthinking all this. Let's get some more thread. That colour is really pretty in this little area. What number is it? 3727. Very pretty little pinky thread. How many threads did I use then? 2. Keeping it fine. When you're on these little projects, you just don't need too much bulk. Okay, I'll finish this last little pot. Ping goes my phone. Okay, so I'm just going to drop that down a little bit so it's nice and visible. Oops. Well, they were really simple, weren't they? Cut the shape. In my head, I sort of felt like I was going to go towards felt. But I thought felt might be too chunky for this piece. I'm trying to keep it as fine as I can. So I'm happy that these little pieces of hemp. And to be honest, I could probably pop pots right through the whole piece. Go to each section and pop in a pot, which may happen in the future, we'll see. Because they sort of suit it dimensionally wise or proportionately. I might even continue this decorative stitch and catch this velvet. See what that looks like. I might turn my piece upside down so my hands don't feel so cack-handed. And let's, do I stitch around the outer edge? Do I come in? No, it's like it's competing. I think that needs to be invisible stitch. I don't think I want to muddy it up And I think it'll be a background for something. I don't know, maybe it's like a little bump in the garden. I don't know. I'm going to get a bigger needle, with a bigger eye in the needle, just to make life a little simpler. That's better. And I'm going to take this thread up to that linen and just pop in a few. Let's get you back to this other side, knot you off. And let's do a couple little, we've got 5 minutes, excellent. Let's just do some camphor stitch here. Yeah, just little stitches all in a row. Just adds that little element of interest. Seed stitch is another good one for it, where you just do tiny itty bitty stitches everywhere. That's a really good little background filler. Just helps melt everything together, for want of a better way to describe it. Yeah, that's great. And I'll use the same pink that I'm using here on this purple linen on that pink piece that's sitting up here. And it'll really feel like it's one. I'm not too worried about how even my stitches are. They just work once you sort of get going. Try and keep them as straight as you can. If you're doing something more precise, like a borrow stitch or something, you would give yourself some lines or some dots to come in and out. But this is not that type of piece. This is like a mishmash of all sorts of things. So just some little stitches through. The fact that there's a cluster of them, it'll look like it's meant to be, not looking at the randomness of the stitches so much. That makes sense. Don't know why it works, but it does. That was a bit of a hurdle for me to get over in the beginning when I was mucking around with borrow stitch and camphor stitch, and I kept thinking, oh, it's not neat, it's not precise. I could probably hear my grandmother over my shoulder. But it's sort of, it just works. And the fact that they are a little bit different actually makes it even more interesting. So I'll get one more row, I think, and then I'll need another thread. Might get two. Just through we go, picking up. Lovely. Now that I've filmed 2 videos this morning, what I might do is at the beginning of the next video for you guys, the next day, lost track where I would be in that week, but anyway, I might just show you where I got to with all of this, because I don't think I'll be coming back to it now until we get the next prompt. It'll be as far as I want to go with the pots and a bit of background work. So what I'll do is I'll work on it tonight. I'll put it by my couch. And then when I start my French garden tomorrow, which will be, you know, quite a few videos, plus there's so much work on that other piece, I can just pick another spot and go for it for days. I'll show you where this little guy is, because it would be then over a week before you'll probably see it pop up. Hello, Casper. So just so that it's fresh in your mind. Oh, Casper, his tail is knocking things flying here. He's so sooky. Probably don't need to be carrying on. We've just hit the hour, but I'm going to thread the needle. I'm going to go to that pink. And I'm going to probably bury a few stitches down in that lace so it looks like it's meant to be 100% stitched down. And I'll just do this one row so that you guys can see where I'm heading. Oh, there's so many bits that are catching. Another thing I could do with this piece, if I didn't want to camphor, is just go around the perimeter of the rectangle. But I think I will camphor it down. It's a bit puffy and I like it to sit nice and tight to the back, to the piece. One more row. I should be going. I'm going over time. Just can't stop. Don't chew on thread. Nope, got it. Okay, there we go. I'm happy now. Oops. Oh, it's catching. Damn. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. All right, I'm just going to push that needle through down to that bottom. And then I'll just let it sit there for a moment so you can see the little camphor stitches. Well, maybe you can't see, but they're there. Just gives that little quilted feel to it. And I'll probably stitch along this edge. It's a little bit fluty there, so I might pop a few little invisible stitches in there just to sort of marry that together. So there you go. Got plenty to do on this now. I feel like it's really improved somewhat. I still have this morsel out that caught my eye. I'll leave it for now. Got plenty I can do here without getting too carried away. Stitch all that down. It's a lot more softer. Yeah, beautiful. All right, let me zoom up a little bit. And I think we are starting to get the feel of drifting through the pastel colours into the creams. Yeah, lovely. Oh, there's so much more work I can do in here. All this camphor stitching. Oh, there's heaps. Heaps and heaps and heaps. Maybe that flower can go up into here. Oh, I like that. Do I like it down here? Never ends, does it? So I felt like it looked good there. I'm going to pin it. Who knows? All right, guys, I better let you go. Keep you here forever. And I'm going to go and pop this project right next to my chair so it's ready to play with later on. And I've got my little pots in with my little lady from the garden shed. All right, everyone, look after yourselves. Have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.